Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the African Fighters Podcast, episode 69. That's a bad joke. So, welcome to episode 69 of the African Fighters Podcast. I am Jibril from the African Fighters, and next to me is your favorite duo or the trio of the Wazobia gang. Let's go. Ademola Odewade from the Kingdoms Podcast, President Israel Adesanya Fan Club. What's up, my brother? How you doing?
All good in the hood. Last night, great night of fights. I'm super excited.
Yes, we'll get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, to his far right, yes, or to my far right, or your left, or your far left, whatever it might be, it is owner, CEO, Chat with the Tycoon. Please subscribe. It is the business mogul and the philanthropist. Amen. It is Ebuka Ogbonna from London, England. How far now, my brother?
I'm very well, bro. I'm very, very well. The weather is killing me these days, but it was an interesting night of fights last night, so I can't wait to get into it. Let's go.
All right. So, as I said earlier, episode 69, the African Fighters Podcast. In this episode, we dive into the latest action from UFC311, including the thrilling results and our expert analysis. Okay. Join us as we break down the fights, debate key topics, and explore some of the biggest names in MMA. Actually, I had AI write me an intro, and that actually sounds generic as F. I probably shouldn't have used that. But hey, guys. We'll talk about UFC 311. We'll talk about Dricus, Adesanya. We'll talk about Robert Whittaker and a couple of topics out here. It's in the bio. Please follow us across social media platforms. We really do appreciate it. And UFC 311, an exciting one. Ebuka fell asleep in the middle of the prelims. Demola Odewade, Kingdoms. He watched the whole thing from the prelims to the main event. Yes, the UFC junkie, guys. And me myself, I was sleeping. I had to catch it in the morning. However, the first fight I went to was the main event. All right, guys. In the main event, Islam Makhachev defeated Renato Moicano. Makhachev won by a dash choke in 4 minutes 5 seconds of round number 1. He made it look very, very easy. No pun intended. He is absolutely, in my opinion, pound for pound number 1. We'll talk about that a bit later. But I'm going to take Ademola's opinion first. What are your thoughts about that main event?
The main event, I think the main event went the way it actually should have gone. This is the world champion, and not just the world champion. This is the number 1 pound for pound fighter in the world, taking on number 10 in his division at short notice. So what would you really expect? Islam is the embodiment of what a modern day gladiator should actually be. Just give me fight. I don't care who. You put even he says even if you put King Kong in front of me, if King Kong can make 155, I fight. So he's actually a one in a generation athlete, I believe. When you think about the Messis and the Ronaldos of football, I think Islam is actually right up there when it comes to MMA.
Oh wow. That is some pedestal you're putting him on. You're making it seem like Islam is like a LeBron James of the NBA.
Exactly, because he's not just talented, he's also hardworking and disciplined. It's hard to
bro. I think your analogy is a bit overhyped, but I feel like this is another topic we can dive into. So I don't want to move away from this main event. Ebuka, thoughts about the main event, UFC 311, Islam Makhachev versus Moicano?
Yeah, mismatch. One word, mismatch. It was a mismatch. Moicano came on, after the change. I was really looking forward to the original main event there, but obviously Aman had to pull out due to a back problem. It was a mismatch. Money Moicano was saying, I'm gonna be a champion. Watch, I don't know if you saw the videos. I'm gonna be the champion. And for a second there, I was actually beginning to believe it. And people were drawing comparisons with Islam's record with Usman. Remember our brother Usman, what happened with him as well? He was going to shatter records as well in that fight. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. And that's life, That's a life for us. Sometimes if it's not for you, it's not for you. And yeah, good luck. It was a good fight. Obviously, I didn't expect anything less. Islam is levels above Moicano there, and that was what we saw. There's nothing else to add to
Yeah.
that.
So when you say mismatch, that makes
money.
yeah, when you say mismatch, it makes me think and wonder, right? Is there anybody that matches well with Islam in the lightweights? There's absolutely nobody. Like,
I mean,
the closest is actually Aman. The closest is actually Aman.
Well, that's the thing. I think Islam is a better striker than Aman is a better grappler in my opinion than Aman is. Not that Aman is a slouch in any regard, but as you said, he's the closest. Absolutely nobody in the lightweights, nobody in the featherweights, and in my opinion, he's going to mop the floor with Bilal Muhammad. So, I would say let's talk a bit about the pound for pound.
He does not want to fight Bilal. He does not want to fight Bilal.
I know we will get into that. We'll get into that. But like, let's talk about this pound for pound ranking thing, right? Because there was a lot of discourse online about, is he supposed to be the pound for pound number one? Is he better than what John Jones is doing or Alex Pereira? And I would absolutely agree that Islam is definitely the pound for pound number one, because he is the only champion there is no argument about like his division, about who he fights, the quality of opponents. It's not his fault that the people they put in front of him, they might be young, they might be in their prime, but he absolutely makes it look easy. Right? He doesn't always, he never have a 50-50 fight. But like somebody like John Jones now, for example, John Jones fought a retired fighter last time, in Stipe Miocic. Stipe is way past his prime, right? And even as at that, John Jones had to take about 3 rounds to take Stipe out of there. And I will swear on my life, if Stipe fell off from that fight on fight week, John Jones would not take Tom Aspinall as a replacement fighter. You understand? So when we're talking,
that happened with Chael Sonnen as well.
When we're talking pound for pound, it means a fighter that has the ability to be like, anybody. Okay, fight fell off, no problem. Bring anybody. He has done it 3 times now, actually 4 times, where the fight falls off and he's fine with the replacement, and then he makes it look easy. Yeah. So I'm gonna take you back.
I can remember Volk and Moicano.
Wait, Volk came for Moicano, right? Sorry, Volk. Volk came for that Brazilian guy, Charles Oliveira. Moicano came for Sarukian. The one that you just remembered now. Which one is it?
I remembered Volk. Then I think Bobby Green was probably like a replacement.
So Bobby Green and Dan Hooker. So there was the Dan Hooker, Bobby Green one, and then the fourth one is you mentioned it just now. The fourth one, I forgot what you just said now. The fourth replacement one.
Dan Hooker?
No. Just before then,
is there somebody else that it's Volk now? Volk was the other person. He's also
there was Volk
short notice as well.
There's Volk. There's Moicano. There's
Bobby Green,
Hooker and Bobby Green. There's a fourth one. You mentioned it at the top. I just forgot which one it is. However, that makes you understand the level he's at. If you make 155 and you step in there, he's not only going to beat you, but you would not get a 50-50 fight out of him, right? And as you know, he has now equaled the 16 fight winning streak of Anderson Silva, or is he having a chance to equal it in his next fight?
Yes. So he's on 15 now.
Yeah, he's on 15.
The next fight. Yeah. He's at par with Usman now on 15.
Okay. All right. Big shout out to Moira Bogai.
Abuaji.
Abuaji.
Yeah. Courageous Empire tuning in today. Appreciate you. We have, if you are joining us, please hit the like button. It's absolutely free. It's just below here. Thank you very much. Yeah. So moving on, I don't want to take too much time. We'll go to the co-main. The co-main delivered an early fight of the year contender. I have never seen a fight that got fans sat in the edge of their seat because someone took someone down like this fight, right? This fight was built up like, okay, Merab, he is coming for the number of takedowns history record. Like, he takes down his opponents so many times. He currently holds the most takedowns in a single fight record in the
beating
UFC.
GSP.
Yeah. So, and then he's going against a Dagestani wrestler who is not just a Dagestani, but the younger brother to Khabib Nurmagomedov, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that was hype. Okay, Khabib is going to coach the co-main and the main. He's going to have two champions. Oh, father's history. These guys are all undefeated.
Father's blood.
Here we go. So it was one of those things. And like, this fight started first and second round. We saw the whole Dagestani chain wrestling thing, right? There was a lot of scrambles going on there. Looked very entertaining because they were mixing it up very well. But the third round came around and we saw a Dagestani or a Nurmagomedov looking human for the first time in our lives. And this is all credit to Merab Dvalishvili.
The machine. Emphasis on the machine.
Merab's waist is absolutely something, man. That guy is so comfortable with someone shoot for a double. There was a point that Umar shot for a double. He has already clinched his fist around his waist, and Merab was still standing. And then that's when he decided to taunt the fans. That's how comfortable he is when he's about to be taken down. Yeah. It was an absolute masterclass. I loved it, and that is when I noticed and I realized, no wonder Merab did not want to fight Aljo, because he would definitely have taken that title away from Aljo, because he is 100% better than Aljo, in my opinion. So Aljo, no wonder Aljo was happy to move in a weight class above. He decided to be, okay, fine, I'll leave this division for Merab. So I think all those, he's my friend thing was all bullshit. These guys, they already know what the sparring sessions were like behind the stage. They already know everything. I never really wanted to come because they already know who the winner is going to be, and that person would have been Merab. Demola,
friends.
Thoughts about the fight?
About the fight. So I think real quick, let's see Courageous Empire's comment. He says Merab's cardio needs to be investigated. That is actually very true. So there is a reason why he's called the machine. He lives up to his moniker. I have never in my life and my history of watching combat sports seen a person that weaponizes cardio as much as Merab does. We also what he did to. He's fought 4 former champions: Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo. Who does that to an Olympic caliber wrestler, right? Now, coming into this fight, Merab lost the first 2 rounds. And, I was telling guys on some American group that he's actually taking reads. That is what he's doing. He wants to make Umar get tired. And then in the 3rd round, he starts to unleash his cardio. And that's exactly what he did. He lost the first 2 rounds, and then in the 3rd round, he came out guns blazing, mixing the takedowns with the stand-up. And I think Umar was actually scared of the takedowns, and that actually made Merab more successful on the feet. Because when you're anticipating the takedowns, right, your guard is down trying to defend the wrestling, right, and then he pieces you up. So basically, he did piece him up in round 3, round 4, and round 5. So I don't know what the judge that scored it 49 46 was
49,
watching.
46. Yeah,
I
I
do
did
know what
hear
he was
that
watching.
scorecard. I was like, what is going on here? You mean Umar only won one round? That's not possible.
No,
Ebuka,
he did win the
thoughts.
first 2 rounds.
Ebuka, thoughts about this banger of a matchup?
Yeah, Merab. You know, I'm one of those that I think at the launch of this fight, actually, I'm one of those people that saw Merab's demeanor, how he was acting. He acted a bit suspect, a bit like he was afraid of this guy, you know.
No,
And I
he
was
felt
like,
disrespected.
yeah. And I was like, what's going on here? Merab, are you really afraid of this guy? Is this gonna be like a mismatch kind of fight, or where, because let's be honest, Umar had this, he had this aura, he had this
He has a hype.
undefeated Nurmagomedov and all these things.
And the flashy striking. Let's give
Yeah.
it to him. He's actually very, very good.
So I was, I was actually a bit afraid for Merab because I like Merab. I think I like his personality. You can see that he's a real guy. He's a down-to-earth guy. He's a hard worker. He's someone that, his story and everything. He's someone I can relate to in terms of his struggles and everything, where he's come from and all those things. So I really wanted him to win. So I'm so happy he won. It was a very good scrap. And in that division now, when you look, I don't think there's anybody else that will not be a favorable matchup to him now. At least most of the contenders so I see him going on a bit of run. And he's not too far away as well from the record that Islam is on. I think he's on how many fight win streak now? He's probably on 11 now or 12. I need to check. So
yeah, but
yeah,
I think he has he's got more from his winning streak. Most of them were from outside the UFC.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Are you sure he lost his first 2 fights in the UFC?
No. He lost his first 2 fights
in the UFC.
Oh yes. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Let me check I'll check his record.
Yeah, remember before Merab got signed to the UFC, he was fighting an undefeated Rafion Stutz in Dana White looking
my
for
boy.
A fight. Yeah, Rafion Stutz was the guy that was like, they put that match up to favor Rafion Stutz. Dana White was watching. This was supposed to be when they would sign Rafion, and Merab slapped him. It was not nice. And that's how Merab got into the UFC and Rafion went to Bellator. Yeah, the rest is history. Moving on. The people's main event. And my main event because it had big sweaty men. Jiří Procházka versus Jamahal Hill. Yeah. Procházka wins by TKO in the 3rd round. This is my type of fight.
The big sweaty
other day the other day I was bored, and then there was this free stream of one championship on the YouTube channel of Sky Sports, and that free stream had that event had mostly Muay Thai fights, and I was watching Muay Thai and I was like, damn, this is so entertaining. It's, my opinion, much more entertaining than kickboxing is, and much more entertaining than MMA is. And here's why, right? I feel like if Americans, as we know, Americans, they are the best at packaging. They are the best at entertainment and putting butts in seats and selling tickets. They know how to bring that entertainment factor into anything. For God's sakes, if you go to America, they do those sack thing they throw in holes. I don't know. I don't know I can't remember what the name is. A sack, they just throw it in holes. Those things do incredible numbers on TV because of the entertainment factor they add to everything. That's why Dana White felt comfortable to bring Power Slap. And in my opinion, if the American sports machine, the way they chose, the way MMA started and the UFC started, if it was Muay Thai that was pushed like that, my brother, it would have more stars and it will have more fans. I promise you, because of how dangerously exciting it is. If you guys have never seen a Muay Thai event, I beg, go watch them. Even the smaller guys, strawweights, flyweights, the way they hit each other. Oh man.
The raw tanks of this world.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful bro. The words don't come out. Anywho, coming back to this people's main event, Jiří Procházka versus Jamahal Hill. Procházka winning by TKO. Exciting fight, entertaining from round 1 to round 3. I love seeing chaos, right? That's why I'm a big fan of Dricus. As a fan, you don't always have to know what the fighter is doing, as long as he's beating people. And that is Dricus' style. Dricus' style is
Win.
excuse me for saying this. Fuck your techniques. I kill this guy. So that is what Procházka's style is. Jiří
back in
is not
secondary
about
school, we call it wuru to the hunter.
exactly. It's more like vibes and inshallah, if you get what I mean. So that fight was entertaining. Jiří not really knocked out. He scored 2 knockdowns, and then the ref pulled him away from Jamahal. Even though a lot of people will say early stoppage, but obviously Jamahal should be protected because I don't see how that fight would continue with that amount of knockdowns that happened. But hey, as usual, I'm going to go to Demola first because Demola was awake to watch it, unlike somebody. So Demola, thoughts about that fight?
I think Jiří was actually disrespected by the odd makers to start with. Jiří was an underdog in that fight, and I was surprised what's up. So I did sprinkle a little bit of salt on that fight, and I won some little money on the Jiří side. So Jiří style is wild. He wasn't defensively responsible. Yeah. So he said he's been trying to work on that, but his guard was still down. But he was able to use his head movement, right, to make Jamahal Hill miss. But you can't do that against, a heavy striker that is a sniper like Alex Poatan. And that's why Poatan still has his number. So he says he wants to fight Poatan again. Let's see. But for Jamahal Hill, he was measured in his approach, but Jamahal was bringing in the combinations. He was doing all of the right things, but you could see that when Jiří hits Jamahal, the effect, the impact is higher. But then when Jamahal hits, you can see that Jiří is able to take a hit. So basically his chin held up for him in that fight, and he did get it done. But I think he needs to really, really improve on his defensive side going forward. Else we'll probably see a trilogy in which he loses again to Alex. But big up to him. It was a really, really nice one. It was fire for fire. Trust me.
I'm going to say Jiří's style of defense is like, okay, I'm going to win. My defense is I have a strong chin, and obviously that didn't wait now. Obviously that did not work that did not work with Pereira twice, and we know Pereira is the hardest hitter in that division, even though they got so many big hitters like Roundtree. I think Roundtree will actually take Jiří out of there. But let's get back on track. So actually, let me pass it to Ebuka. Ebuka, what's up about this fight?
My brother, listen, Jiří is Jiří, man. Yeah, he moved his head a bit more. What people are saying, from what I can see, he moved a bit more. He had a bit more, but then this is his style. He's chaos each time. He's so unorthodox. You don't know what he's going to come up with the next time, and that is why I think, in my opinion, if he fights Pereira 10 times, Pereira possibly wins 10 times, unless maybe he gets something from somewhere, and then maybe nicks 1 or 2. And that is the thing about him. I think there's no point having that fight anymore. Yes, he's won again, and he can only go up again now. And up there is, but I think if that fight is set up again, he's still going to lose just because of his style. He just has that, and that is just him. That is just who he is. I don't think he's going to change. It was an entertaining fight. That was actually, for me, one of the sort of most fun fights of the night just
That
because
was
of
my
what I
fight.
was
That was my
seeing
fight of the night. That
of the
was
night.
my fight
Yeah.
of the night.
But then, as a fighter, I'm not sure that is how I wanna do my business in the octagon.
Because that style is actually not sustainable. It's not sustainable going
It is
into
not
the future.
sustainable.
Yeah, he's growing older.
We saw someone in boxing try to get to the top of the heavyweight division, and obviously he's been going down since then. I forgot his name, the Nigerian British guy. Farouk is a big fan of him. A heavyweight. Anyway, he
David
lost. He
Adile,
lost.
yeah?
No.
Is it David?
He lost
I'm
to
talking about
Takam. He lost to that Chinese guy, that Big Bang Jang,
the
twice.
design. Oh,
Yeah,
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce. Yes, that's the guy.
Oh,
Joe
is Joe
Joyce
Joyce
fought that.
Nigerian? Oh, I
Nigerian.
didn't know that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
He's half Nigerian. Yeah, or
Ah,
maybe even fully Nigerian. Just
are
Google
you
it, you will
sure
see.
Joe Joyce is? I'm not sure. I know about AJ, but not sure
Go
about Joe
look it
Joyce.
up.
But anyway,
He has
yeah.
he had spoken about it a little bit
You're
using that
right.
angle.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
half
He
Nigerian.
tried to get that AJ fight done in Africa to be like, oh,
Yeah.
a Nigerian versus
Marvel
a
Opera
Nigerian.
is yeah, his dad is Nigerian. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. So moving on. Do we have to even go through the rest of the fights? There's this fight I was interested in seeing, right? And I was so surprised. And that fight has like a little bit of a ripple effect. Okay, so you know the Talbott guy, he was fighting Barcelos. And Barcelos obviously won by unanimous decision. He even won 30-26 in one of the judges' scorecard. And Talbott
Yes.
is the same guy that that dog walked Cameron Simon. If you remember Cameron Simon, when he was feeling invisible in the UFC, Talbot was like fighting him like a Robocop. He was walking down and he was not feeling anything. And he got schooled last night. Demola, any thoughts?
Guess what? The odds for Barcelos to win was 8. So it means if you're actually staked £1,000, you get £8,000. So I did sprinkle some salt on that fight because it just did not make sense to me for me to bet on Talbot. The odds for Talbot to win was 1.05 something. And I've actually been watching mixed martial arts, for a while now, that I consider myself a nerd of the sport. And there's something we always say in this sport: styles make fights. In terms of the statistics, right? I think Barcelos is 37 years old. Talbot is about 26. So 65% of the time, anytime there's a 9-year plus gap, the younger fighter tends to win. However, Barcelos was actually able to implement his experience. Right? So they say experience is the best teacher. Now, Talbot is a striker, right? If you think of Talbot as a Sean O'Malley, yeah, he has that flashy, combination of striking like Sean O'Malley. However, Barcelos, right, came in and implemented a Merab style kind of fight. That was exactly what just happened. And, I feel like he did come with a good game plan, good fight IQ, good coaching, and he got the job done. Trust me, he had a lot of ground control time. I can't remember the numbers right now, but anytime they were on the stand-up, Talbot was piecing this guy up. Barcelos knew he cannot stand up with Talbot. Talbot had, some good moments on the feet, but what Barcelos kept on doing was, dragging him to the ground and mauling him there. So he's young, so he needs to evolve in his game. It's mixed martial arts for a reason. You're not coming to fight Muay Thai. You're not coming for a striking battle. So I think he needs to improve his jiu-jitsu and his wrestling, especially the defensive wrestling. And I see him as a future champion. It's just a learning curve for him. That's my own take on the fight.
Yeah. All right.
Massive call.
All right. Let me just drop this one here. One championship fella, de Ridder, he on his second UFC fight, he defeated Kevin Holland. by submission in round 1. Not a surprise at all.
Yeah, that's
he said it and
What
he
did
did
you-
it. Like he said it.
well, what do you expect when a jiu-jitsu black belt is fighting Kevin Holland? Kevin,
Yeah.
no takedown defense Holland. Moving on. In the press conference, okay, they were asking Islam Makhachev what he wants, and he said he wants double champ status. Now, it's impossible for him to cut weight down, and he doesn't want to fight his brother in Mohamed Bilal. He has said he's not going to fight Mohamed Bilal. And the next person available is in the middleweight division, Dricus du Plessis. And the issue with Mohamed Bilal is he is also not going to fight Shafkat. And Shafkat is the number 1 contender. So, like, champ status is going to be difficult for you if Bilal. So, let's say the 3 people that are likely going to win a title in welterweight is Bilal, Shafkat, say maybe Usman. Because if Usman maybe wins, comes back in the title picture, he's probably going to fight either a Bilal or a Shafkat. So he is not going to fight anyone in the middleweight welterweight division. He has to jump to the middleweight division, and that is none other than Dricus du Plessis. And he was asked about this, and he says, yes, if the UFC put the fight for him, he would absolutely do it. And I looked into his eyes, and he was serious. But when they mentioned Alex Pereira, he said, I know if he'd do that one. But the Dricus one, he thinks he can fight Dricus. In my head, I'm like, what are you thinking? Dricus is a monster. I'm talking about physical difference monster.
He's big, man.
Right?
Yeah.
He's
Dricus
a big middleweight.
I mean, I feel like that's just talk, to be honest. If you ask me, I don't think it's feasible for him to move above a division to then go even. I don't really see that happening. And if it happens, I think I would give Dricus the advantage there, because Dricus is good on the ground. Dricus is big. The guy is huge. He's massive. So how is that even gonna work? I don't know. Yeah, I think at the moment he's just gonna stay at featherweight and just keep beating up some of these contenders.
We've got Courageous Empire here saying, I'm a big fan of Islam, but there are weight classes for a reason. Yo.
Yeah, and trust me, I agree with Courageous Empire. He always makes a lot of sense.
Dricus, one thing every opponent he fights says is the strength of that guy. He's not quick. He can be slow, but the power he packs, not only the power in his punches, but the power when he grabs you and he takes you down and he squeezes you, that power too. It is raw power.
Yeah.
I don't know if Africans in South Africa are famous for being very powerful. I really don't know, but Dricus is a different animal. If you are South African, please educate me in the comment section. Is that something that Africans, I believe those are the white South Africans, is that something they are popular for being freakishly strong? Because, man, that Dricus, man, he's packing power. And Islam, I beg, don't tarnish your
That fight is not even going to happen anyway. That thing is just, it's one of these things where people just talk. I don't see it happening.
I guess Islam would finish his career without winning another title in another division, because if he's not going to fight in the welterweight division,
I mean, these things change all the time. Who says that? But is he not going to fight Shafkat as well? What if Mohamed Bilal wins? Shafkat beats Bilal. Is he not going to fight Shafkat?
So he says Shafkat is also one of their teammates.
Ah, okay.
He's also from those mountains now. Even though I think he's from Kyrgyzstan, but it's all that region there. So they all come together. They all do their stuff together. So he's not gonna be there. We've got Shaha in the comments says, do you think if Umar never broke his hand, he could have beaten Merab?
No.
Well, you could see the cardio levels were not the same most especially in the championship rounds. Yeah. Umar has never been in championship rounds before, has he?
I
I can't
doubt it.
remember. I can't remember.
Doubt
But you could see he was slow, he was sluggish when he was throwing. So I don't think it would have made a difference as long as they were in the championship round. Maybe if you say
Mm.
maybe okay, if he could maybe have a finish in the second or third round, then yeah, but then in the championship rounds, I
What
don't think the cardio was
what
gonna hold up.
next? What next for Merab now though? What do you think?
I feel like we're going back because we don't pass Merab now. I want to
I
put
know.
timestamp.
I just okay. Sorry. Let's.
I want to put timestamps.
Okay.
Merab also injured in the fight.
Yeah.
Wait till I put to Demola. All right, let's move on. I'm going to ish,
Well, let's go.
stay. Yeah. I'm going to remove Demola from here. Demola, when you come back, just say something. I'll let you back in. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about this new bromance that is happening in MMA, right? All of a sudden, we just saw Robert Whittaker and Israel Adesanya
Hmm.
sparring, playing, now sitting on the same couch. At
I'm
this point, you
talking.
would even start questioning if Easy and Whittaker are in some sort of weird relationship. But let's. I have an article here because I would rather read an article. Um, uh, where is this bloody thing? So Robert Whittaker and Izzy, they were together and they spoke about Dricus. And one thing Izzy and Whittaker have in common is they both lost to Dricus by finish, right? And Dricus submitted Izzy and then he pounded Whittaker away. Big shout out to Dricus du Plessis. So this week, the MMA community has a new bromance to smile about, and it's the collaboration between Whittaker and Easy. Ahead of the Kiwis' return to action in February, the two former rivals sat down for a hilarious conversation about one of their common foes. Common foes is Dricus du Plessis. Whittaker and Adesanya have been training together ahead of last Bender's uh, upcoming fights versus Imavov in February. Just 1 week after the fight night event in Saudi Arabia, the promotion returns to Australia for UFC 312, headlined by Dricus versus Strickland, with the two common opponents sharing a giggle about what the way that Dricus fights, right, and their experience about that, right. If I'm going to give an edge to anyone, it would be Dricus in the fight. Easy said so.
Hmm.
And even though Sean will definitely try to walk him down again, the one thing about Dricus is he is just so awkward. So like walking Dricus down does not work. He would throw just to stop me in when he, now this is easy talking about his experience fighting Dricus. He said he will throw just to stop me in my tracks. I remember there was one when I sprawled on him and my head hits the mat. I tried to kick him away on the ground and I was like, "Get up." I advanced and straight away he was just wailing his arms. Right. Adesanya revealed that Dricus du Plessis' awkward style constantly stopped my momentum and let him having to reset his striking stance at end of each exchange. Or as he put it, he's just a weird man. He's like the best shit fighter in the world. He's so good that I can't even fault him for that. You can't fault the South African style. Or the South African style because it works, as Robert Whittaker says. With the middleweights busting into laughter as the Australian called Dricus du Plessis a B word for beating them both. You know what? You know what I mean? I remember when I fought him in the like first 30 seconds, I was like, this dude is really slow. But then I got punched in the face. So that was a really funny video if you actually watch it. I think if Dricus watches it, even though they call him the best shit fighter in the world, he probably would smile at it because at this point, if I was
See.
Dricus, if I was
Hmm.
Dricus, I would wear it as a badge of honor. I can win by any weird way I choose. So, what are your
But
thoughts, Ebuka?
yeah, we need to understand something. As long as much as these guys are competitors, fighters, they are human beings, and at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. They all want to win. They all
Mhm.
want to have that thing in them. They want to compete. They want to I think it looks like Demola is back, so you can bring him back in. So
Okay.
they all want to win. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all about the bromance. It's just like footballers, they all go to the same places, they all chill. Or it's when you see them in the pitch, they're fighting for, they're trying to win. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's good. It's only a good thing. It means that at the end of the day, there's no animosity. We just want to chill, hang out, and after the fight or whatever, the fact that you beat me or whatever doesn't mean that's the thing. That's why I get shocked when people are always thinking about losses in boxing, especially. It really pains me when you come to boxing, for instance, you see they're trying to build people up not to lose. That's not true. That's not how life is. You win some and you lose some. So it's good, and I'm enjoying it. Long may it continue. Maybe there might be a trilogy there as well down the line. You never know.
Yeah, if UFC was WWE, we'll do a triple threat between all three of them, right? In one corner, we have Dricus, we have Easy, and and we and we have Robert Whittaker in a triple threat match. Actually, actually, throw Sean Strickland in there, make it a fatal four-way.
Whoa. I would never understand WWE in this life. Maybe the next.
So Demola, your Oga president, as you are your Oga of your fan club, which is Israel Adesanya, he was he was caught in a bromance with Whittaker, not
Rob.
necessarily caught because
Yeah,
they
I saw Rob in his
released their
house.
tape.
Yeah,
They released their tape together. As you know, this is episode 69, so pardon my French. No kiss. Damn, I'm on fire today. So I was talking about when they were talking about when Dricus and Whittaker and Easy were talking about obviously the thing they have in common being the two people to have lost to Dricus. What are your thoughts? I don't know. Have you seen that video, Demola?
I did see a video on Stylebender, his YouTube channel, where himself and Rob, I think they were analyzing the fights, and I think they were trying to make predictions for UFC311. But
Oh yeah, so let me get you to speed. They were talking about Dricus. They said he's the best shit fighter in the world. He throws things very randomly and awkwardly, and so they had all these things to say. What are your thoughts about seeing them do that? If you had seen the video, it would have been nice.
Yeah, but then it's just normal, and it's really nice. There's this Australian guy, what's his name, Nico or something, some Australian what do you call it, journalist with Fox Sports, right? Yeah, we're discussing about it on Instagram. He's the one covering Australia and New Zealand for the UFC Fox Sports. So he says like it's a really nice breath of fresh air to see rivals become friendly, right? And it's good for the sport. So I think they're setting a good example for the young up and coming athletes, right? So it's not the first time we've seen this kind of things. We've seen the likes of GSP, Dean Thomas, Matt Serra, who were rivals in their time, right? They are now like Dana White's boys when he goes for like looking for a fight and these other kind of events, right? It's nice to see them come together, show respect, and share some sort of brotherhood. The fact that you're fighting in the octagon does not mean you go on to start fighting in real life. It doesn't make sense. It's a sport in the end. So before this guy died, the main guys in the Ultimate Fighter, the Ultimate Fighter #1, Forrest and
Forrest Griffin.
Forrest Griffin, and there's the other guy that died. They did bury the hatchets after the fight. So I think it's a good thing, right, for people to see in the sport, because a lot of people see MMA as human cockfighting, and they see the athletes as people who are not presentable to mainstream society. So it's really nice seeing these kind of things, and I'm happy to see it. It's good example for the sport. That's just my own take.
Yeah, a wrestling analogy would be Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. They came back together to rekindle the big beef they had in the past. You will not get it, Demola. You don't. You are immune to entertainment. You don't want to be
I am
entertained.
anti WWE. Yeah, Stephen
It's talking.
Bonner. That's the guy I was trying to remember. Forrest
Yeah,
Whitaker,
big
Stephen
shout out,
Bonner. Thank you.
big shout out, Courageous Empire. Really appreciate you, brother. All right, moving on. Yes, I think we are we're gonna be rounding up the event soon. All right, two things we are going to talk about. Israel Adesanya fighting in UFC Saudi Arabia Fight Night. One of the events in Riyadh season is a fight night by the UFC headlined by Izzy versus Imavov. You might even call it a pay-per-view because it's a pay-per-view caliber fight night event. However, one thing that we were talking about, that we were saying the UFC, remember when Izzy was no longer champion? The UFC are going to struggle in booking Izzy because Izzy is on a huge contract and he has pay-per-view points, which means if he's on a pay-per-view, if they sell pay-per-views, if they sell 1 million pay-per-views, he has a bit of a chunk of money coming out of it, right? So now this is a fight night, so that doesn't come in play. So he was asked about this, and I'm going to read to you what his response is. Okay, so I should have had this queued up. All right, the next time Israel steps into the octagon, it will be for the first time. The two former UFC champion has competed on a non-pay-per-view card since he faced Brad Tavares in the main event of Ultimate Fighter 27 fight finale fight night. How long ago was this, you ask? So long ago that the event was on Fox Sports 1. The fight, which Adesanya won via unanimous decision, took place July 6, 2018. Adesanya next competes in February 1st in the main event of UFC Saudi Arabia fight card. Since his win over Tavares, Adesanya has fought 14 consecutive UFC pay-per-view cards, putting together a record of 10-4. Of those bouts, 12 of which were for UFC Gold. During the run, Adesanya had 2 runs as the UFC middleweight champion. His most recent UFC pay-per-view fight came in August when he lost via submission to the current UFC middleweight champion, Dricus du Plessis. Those thinking that Adesanya will be hung up on the idea of not fighting on a numbered UFC event will be disappointed in the ex-champ's outlook on headlining UFC Saudi Arabia Fight Night. This is easy, he said. I still get paid. There's still a referee. It's 2 of us in there. There's a crowd. It's not like in the Apex or something. So it doesn't feel any different. I think people are making it out to be something how they would react to it, but they are not in my shoes. They are not in my shorts. In the Saudi Arabia Fight Night, first of all, I still get paid. It still feels like you're fighting Israel Adesanya. This is the biggest fight of his life. I have to be the one to halt that. It still feels the same. It doesn't feel any different. As I said, the card is built like a pay-per-view card, to be honest. There's so many top fighters in there. But this was what I was concerned about. But obviously, Izzy is a businessman. He knows it's a big draw. He gets something upwards of 6 million every time he fights in a pay-per-view. And this is the Saudis, right? I feel like this is something that he probably had a conversation with the Saudis first because the Saudis, they demand the best, right? Because they can pay for it. So like let me tell you a story. In WWE, right? They wanted an event to come to Saudi the first time during the early collaborations. The prince said, when he was little, he used to like the Royal Rumble. WWE should come and do Royal Rumble for them. But WWE have a Royal Rumble event in their annual schedule. There's like one event called Royal Rumble. Obviously, they're not just going to take that event and go and move it to Saudi, right? So the WWE, because of the money Saudis have, they had to do a Royal Rumble. They called it the Greatest Royal Rumble. That was the name of the event. And normally, Royal Rumble has 30 people inside, right? This one that they did for the Saudis, they'd put 50 people. And then the Prince of Saudi, the Crown Prince, is a big fan of Yokozuna. And by the way, Yokozuna is dead. So WWE found a fat guy to wear Yokozuna outfit to come and appear in that Royal Rumble, right? So I'm just telling you guys this story because if the Saudis are going to have UFC do a fight night, if you remember last year when the fight night was supposed to happen, the UFC the Saudis cancelled it with the UFC because they said they are not happy with the card. They want A players on the fight night. And the UFC obviously are taking money from the Saudis now to do this. So Easy is absolutely the most popular fighter UFC has that is not named Conor McGregor. Him being a champion or him not. Him and Alex Pereira is neck and neck right now because Alex Pereira has gotten there. But Easy is undoubtedly a big draw for them. So
because he speaks English.
Yeah. So and then Easy has been in Saudi for Francis Ngannou multiple times. Remember when the Saudis did that boxing thing that they did one big photo shoot with people holding boxing glove? Easy was there. And I remember Kamaru Usman was in Saudi at the time when they did that walkout entrance, that time that they did the Three Kings walkout, Easy, Usman, and Francis Ngannou. That was that weekend that they did that big boxing photo shoot. But Usman wasn't in that photo shoot, but Easy was. Because Easy already has an in with the Saudis. So Easy fighting in the main event of a Saudi card, I'm not surprised. The last main event, they had Hamza Chimaev. They only get a player, guys. And Easy is absolutely getting paid. The money that he's getting paid is outside of his contract. And another thing is, I just find it weird that in Saudi Arabia, of all places, in the main event, Bruce Buffer is going to say, his opponent in the red corner, Israel Adesanya. Israel. Did you hear what I said? Inside Saudi Arabia.
It's just a name. It's just a name.
Yeah, of course, it's just a name.
The co-main event is actually catching my attention. Shara Magomedov versus Michael Venom Page.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Shara thinks he's the best striker in the division, with his Terminator eyes, but MVP
I think he's going to get fraud checked.
I don't. You know, the thing is with that Sharab guy, you know, the last fight he had like a double spinning back fist finish, and it looked like a fluke to me. I'm not gonna lie, but
I think he's gonna get fraud checked.
But let's get back. Let's get back to Easy versus Imavov. Easy will get paid, guys. Easy will get paid.
Definitely.
And remember when he lost to Dricus, I was saying it like I did a matchmaking immediately the night of the fight. I was like, okay, the next person for Easy is Imavov. I hope you guys can remember. And then it has actually come true because that is stylistically the best matchup for him in the top 5. And, you know, for him to come back to title contention. So
I have a question for you, Ebuka. When you were talking about something, do you think that Easy will have to change his name when the main event in Saudi because Bruce Buffer cannot be shouting Israel in Saudi Arabia?
Well, nah, I don't think it has to. I don't think it has
to. That
is wild. But Israel doesn't have an issue with Saudi Arabia.
Israel I know he doesn't.
It's I think it's Iran. It's not Saudi. So
I don't think Easy has openly criticized any government apart
anybody
from
exactly.
Yeah.
He's criticized the New Zealand government. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot.
I mean, I'm sure the UFC will be hoping. The UFC will be hoping for a spectacular Easy win here, just to sort of ride on that. Because
not just the UFC, even the Saudis.
Easy is one of the biggest draws in this company, so it's going to if you get like a spectacular knockout or something.
I really don't know enough about Imavov. I don't know enough about Imavov, you know. I just know the fact that the last 2 fights I saw of him, they finished with either doctor stoppage or disqualification. So
no, he's a good fighter. He's in the camp of Cyril Gane. He trains with Cyril Gane and that former Francis coach. So he's a good fighter.
So he's proper French.
Yeah. He's a French guy. He's a French guy of obviously I think Russian origin. Or is it Russian or Algerian? I can't remember. Yeah, Russian. So I I don't know much about his grappling. I've not seen him grappling yet, but
wow. I was surprised.
What type of head?
Watched the fight.
What type of head is Moira? What type of head Moira is talking about?
You're live, bro. You're live, brother.
Head movements.
This is the African Fighters episode 69. All right.
See,
Jibril, is getting uncomfortable.
Jibril, see something. I am building, disciples of the MMA sport, right? People get to follow the sport because of my influence. I think it's high time Dana White, gives me some recognition and probably gives me a contract with the UFC. Please, help
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's
do this.
And I told you the best way for you to make Dana is to go to bloody Saudi, and I will give you a press pass so you can talk to Dana.
I'll say,
I told you.
He's coming to London. He's coming to London in March.
London, he'll be too distracted. Bro, I'm telling you, in Saudi, if we go to Saudi, we'll get press pass. Actually, should we ask for press pass in London?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
March. It's
it's
about time we use our networking. What's the name of that black journalist? The one that followed us.
Chisanga Malata.
Yeah. It's about time we reach out to Chisanga, man. We ask him for some press pass for that London event. I think he's going to come. I think he's going to come through for us. All right. We've got one more topic to go. I think it's a bit too early, but let's talk quickly about Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. I don't think this is our way too early prediction. All right, let me throw it to Ibuka first. Way too early prediction. Dricus versus Sean Strickland 2.
I think this Dricus wins before he doesn't go the distance. Dricus wins before the end of the fight. Probably third, fourth round. And I would say maybe by submission, something like that. The same way he beat Easy. I think this time he's had enough time to prepare for this one. And I think he's going to make it look. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sean is a tough guy, but I think Dricus will make this one look very easy this time. Yeah, going for a submission.
I think
all right, so you think you guys are all going for submission?
No, I think submission or TKO. Yeah, submission or TKO. I don't see going the distance. Dricus is coming in with a chip on the shoulder, and he has a point to prove. And I think Sean Strickland can be quite reckless sometimes. So I think he's going to be fighting emotionally, and I think Dricus is going to get into his head and make mistakes that he'll pay dearly for. That's how I see it going. Dricus for the win.
All right, my prediction: Dricus wins round 3. He's going to win by ground and pound. I don't think I would say Dricus flush knockout. Yeah, I don't see a flush knockout. I see a TKO.
Yeah,
I see a submission personally.
Submission or TKO. That's what I'm going for. Dricus. By the way, I think I missed out when you guys were talking about Dricus versus Islam possibly. Like, I don't know what kind of weed is Islam smoking now. Islam is
on something called hashish. I think that's what the Arabs smoke. It's called hashish. It's like a powdered version of Igbo. So what they do is they join it with tobacco and they roll it. I've never had it before. I just know because I have friends. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please, as Nadia join, I beg, please hit the like button. We really do appreciate y'all sticking with us. We are just hitting the 1 hour mark and we are going to call it adieu. Well, before we do, 5 bottles of NSC for everybody.
He said 5 bottles of NSC VSOP. He said one for the DJ, one for the hype man. He said one for the staff, two for in table.
And so,
If you know,
one for Ebuka, one for them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we really, really appreciate you. Before we go, I just want to remind you guys again, link in the bio. Join King Dems podcast. Please hit a like, subscribe King Dems podcast. It's in the bio. Chat with Tycoon also is in the bio. Please do all the good stuff. We really, really
thank you very much, guys.
We are on Patreon. If you want to support us, we really appreciate that. To buy a cup of coffee, we really, really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, the African Fighters Podcast. Thank you, thank you, thank you.